Another narrative that's like flinging around online that I also did not subscribe to is the notion that this was like an Israel hit, right? The reason why I said that, it was most likely not Israel, even though I fucking hate Israel. I'm the number one hater of Israel, right? The reason why I said that is because like it just didn't make sense that Charlie Kirk was like about to turn on Israel any moment now, right? That narrative is huge, just not in your bubble. No, it's in my bubble too. What are you talking about? No, I know. It's a massive narrative. It's one that is like far-reaching. It's one that people believe on, I would say, like the anti-Zionist side that isn't anti-Semitic. Like the critics of Israel side have also grabbed onto this narrative. It's also a narrative that many far-right figures and like right-wing figures also believe as well. That's definitely something that a lot of people are grabbing onto. What about the right wing saying he turned down $150 million from Ackman? That part is probably true. I mean, Charlie Kirk was funded by Israel. Charlie Kirk Turning Point USA was funded by pro-Israel groups and pro-Israel donors. That is absolutely correct. And I would never in a million years say that like when you are getting funded by Israel that you're not going to get some fucking arrogant, entitled ass phone calls from some of the most annoying dipshits on the fucking planet for even daring to have like comic Dave Smith on stage at a Turning Point USA event. None of that means that Charlie Kirk was going to publicly turn on Israel though, because Charlie Kirk was always going to stand by Donald Trump. A lot of people just don't understand that. And people on the right don't understand that. People on the right don't actually believe that I guess Donald Trump is super pro-Israel for some fucking weird reason, because it's like a cult, even if they themselves are anti-Israel, you know? Devil's advocate, because I agree, but couldn't you just argue that Israel might not have wanted to risk the chance that he could turn even if he didn't intend to? No. Like, when Israel, I mean, look, as someone who has been pursued, okay, by the state of Israel, I have a lot of up close and personal relationship with the matter. And let me tell you, when Israel wants to fuck with you, especially if you're a political commentary person on the left, especially if you're like a visible public person in the Western world, okay, then you just making shit up. No, I'm telling you exactly how it works. There are a network of sophisticated propaganda and influence peddling operations that Israel can, on a whim, decide to deploy against you. It's more so bot farms and reputation smearing, okay? There are a million different things that they could do before they arrive at, you know, this assassination. But that also, once again, does not make sense because does not make quite a bit of sense because like the notion that Charlie Kirk was going to publicly turn on Israel is ridiculous. Your uncle Jank on TYT thinks because he was turning against Israel too. Yes, a lot of people think that, and I don't know where they're coming from with this. I mean, I understand. I have no reason to believe that the gray zone reporting is incorrect. It has been confirmed by Candace Owens as well. The notion that like that Charlie Kirk, here's the Israel narrative. We covered it extensively yesterday, but I'll give you a quick summarization. Okay. Gray Zone reported, Blumenthal at Gray Zone reported that Charlie Kirk had a secret Hamptons meeting with Bill Ackman and two of the Babylon Bee guys. Okay. There were some other people that were also there. That meeting took place in the Hamptons, and the meeting was about, and Tucker Carlson too, sorry. I think Tucker Carlson was also there potentially. But that meeting took place, and the contents of the meeting was twofold. One, first, we're going to give you money. We're going to give you more money, but we want something in return. And two, when Charlie Kirk refused to take the money and felt like he was pressured, felt like he was being blackmailed, okay, they turned around and stated, they basically like, had a mean conversation, right? They had a mean conversation with Charlie Kirk. They were probably very short with him, very arrogant. That's just classic. If you've ever had a conversation with someone who's super pro-Israel, whether they're American or Israeli, you get that vibe. They behave in this incredibly entitled, incredibly arrogant manner that is impossible to contend with if you are just like encountering the issue as an outsider for the first time, where you're like, what the fuck do you mean? What is this expectation, right? So do I believe that Charlie Kirk went and had like a bunch of mean conversations with pro-Israel envoys because he dared to sidestep even a little bit from the unshakable pro-Israel position that he is supposed to maintain? Because Israel, when they give you money, they demand a return on that investment, and that demand is unconditional loyalty, okay? Unconditional loyalty to Israel. So the very fact that he had Dave Smith on the Turning Point Conference, the very fact that he had Tucker Carlson on the Turning Point Conference was enough for these pro-Israel groups to fucking lose their minds and be like, what the fuck are you doing? How dare you have these guys on your conference? Like, how dare you give them any fucking breathing room, any space whatsoever? I believe all of that. And Charlie Kirk's own public statements when he was talking to Charlie Kirk's very own public statements when he was talking to what's her face, the lady Megyn Kelly, also shows that he was very frustrated. He was pissed off that, like, regardless of his public facing unconditional loyalty to Israel, these motherfuckers were yelling at him for managing the messaging to the best of his ability, trying to keep the party's base together, because that's what Turning Point USA does, right? That's what his goal was. His goal was to at least maintain some semblance of credibility by recognizing the discontent, especially amongst Gen Z Republicans, and make it seem as though TPUSA at least had like room for more discourse on this issue in an effort not to lose them to the likes of, for example, people who are very anti-Israel and also anti-Semitic, like the Groypers, okay? All of that stuff can be true while Charlie Kirk would still not turn on Israel publicly. And the reason why I say that is because Charlie Kirk is a regime guy, okay? Charlie Kirk is Donald Trump's very own propaganda minister, okay? And therefore, as Donald Trump's propaganda minister, as long as Donald Trump wasn't going to turn on Israel, Charlie was never going to turn on Israel publicly either. Okay? It's that simple. Why is it so crazy to think his best friend was literally saying he started to have a change of heart? Remember that one interview your uncle did with that Mossad guy? Yes, I do remember that. Guys, I am very tuned in, okay? I am very tapped into this shit. I am telling you, someone like Charlie Kirk, their own personal convictions or their own personal distaste does not matter with respect to their public output, okay? Jeffrey Epstein is a great example of this. He leaned into the Jeffrey Epstein stuff with the Bill Clinton connection for a very long time, okay? And then when he got the boss call, this is how he responded.
Talking about Epstein for the time being. I'm going to trust my friends in the administration. I'm going to trust my friends in the government to do what needs to be done, solve it, balls in their hands. I've said plenty this last weekend. So if you guys want to see my commentary on it, that's fine. Honestly, I'm done talking.
Charlie Kirk in the past had talked about Jeffrey Epstein potentially being connected to Mossad, for example. A lot of people keep pointing to that to say, oh, he was starting to go on his journey, a change of heart. An honest change of heart on Israel for a guy like Charlie Kirk doesn't mean that his output was going to change, his public output was going to change. I can totally see him refusing to take $150 million from Bill A. Packman, specifically because he doesn't want that level of control over Turning Point USA. I can totally see him being frustrated by the demands that Zionist groups were making to Charlie Kirk about how he gets to manage his pro-Israel slant, okay? Especially at this point where he has like enough evidence of his success in terms of communicating on these sorts of issues. So obviously, from his perspective, he's like, what the fuck do you mean? I know what I'm doing. You guys have a real bad the messaging problem. Just don't fucking interfere in my affairs. Like when I saw the Megyn Kelly conversation that he had, it almost felt like he was angry because they were just like fucking attacking him relentlessly because because he understood the discontent that a lot of Gen Z Republicans felt towards Israel and how that was actually hemorrhaging support away from Trump even and putting them at the mercy of the likes of Nick Fuentes, who he obviously saw as a major villain, who he obviously saw as a real threat to what he was trying to do, right? But the reason why I keep bringing back the Jeffrey Epstein thing is to show you that regardless of Charlie Kirk's personal opinions, regardless of his distaste for Israeli envoys or demands Zionists were making from him, it doesn't change his public persona and his public output one bit, because he is ride or die for the admin. He is ride or die for Trump. Unless Trump was going to turn on Israel, Charlie Kirk was not going to turn on Israel on his own.